I'm Felicia,
And I'm Ian.
and we are the Paranormal Lovers.
Hello, paranormal dudes, dudettes, and dudays. Welcome back to another episode of the Paranormal Lovers.
Hey guys.
Hey, guys.
Welcome back to another week, episode 71.
Yeah,
Possibly a prime number.
maybe a prime number. Maybe.
I think. I'm trying to sit here and think.
It's a number. Is it prime? It's an Optimus prime number.
Jesus Christ. I cannot with you, Bill. All right. Anyways, trying to think if we have any business we need to get to at the beginning. I don't think so. We don't have a sale going on yet.
Like, follow, and subscribe.
All that good stuff. You guys can find us on Facebook. You can also find us on TikTok and Instagram.
Check out our merch.
Check out our merch at theParanormalLovers.threadless.com.
If you want to help support us,
Come
give
over
us
to
a Patreon.
and you can follow us at the $5 tier, the Lonely Hearts, and you get access to our Deadly Lover case, murder that has gone, or love that has led to murder. Yeah, I can't even think. I'm so glad you're going first today. I might be a little high. It's fine.
It's basically tales of murders that are like husband and wife.
Husband against
people
wife,
that are dating,
wife against husband, spouses, girls,
all that jazz.
all that stuff. It's real fun just to hear Ian just be like, Jesus, fuck,
This is so horrible.
like,
God
what the
dang.
hell? Like, yeah, it's fun. It takes a lot to get Ian riled up, so
It does.
it's interesting when he gets there some days.
I don't get mad very easily.
No, he doesn't. So I tell you what,
Then when I do, it's like 30-mile-an-hour cuss words, like
he's only ever gotten mad at me a few times, which were absolutely valid. But I'm also a fighter, so I fought back. But when other people see him get mad for the first time, I always like laugh because I'm like, yeah, you didn't expect that little motherfucker to be a firecracker, did you? He's a firecracker. Listen, they've said it for years. Dynamite comes in small packages, so
yep, that's what people told me my whole life.
yeah.
So.
All right. Well, this week we got an Ian case. So what do you got for us?
You forgot. What do you love about this week?
Oh yeah. Shit. Hang on. I gotta think. What did I do this week? I did not love our child getting what the fuck ever she has. Okay. Y'all, I'm so tired of these kids.
Sick so much.
I'm so tired of these kids and these sicknesses. And like this time they were like, well, we're just going to treat her for a sinus infection because her tonsils are swollen and her ears are red. But they ran 0 tests. I made her take a at-home COVID test because like her taste buds were jacked up and her applesauce was nasty. And I was like, all right, girl, what is going on?
Yeah.
And they were just like, well, we're just going to pump her full of amoxicillin. And I'm like, all right, let's go for it.
I mean, that's all they used to do with me.
Yeah. I'd say probably soccer shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a nice little, I have a little group of parents. It's me and like 2 other parents that we sit there and talk. And one of them actually runs a program that I attended as a teenager for kids with ADHD and autism. And the other one is non-binary and runs a like, I don't know how I would describe the Funky Fern Emporium, but you guys go check it out on Instagram. It's called the Funky Fern Emporium. They sell clothes, household decorations, and stuff like that. It's all like real trippy and hippie stuff.
That's cool.
Far out.
I'm gonna have to go check that out.
For sure. We need to go to that store one day. I really, really want to go to that store one day. Plus, they grabbed Patty's prize from Soccer Shots because she was sick for the last class, so she couldn't go.
Yeah.
But you guys go check that page out. Funky Fern Emporium. It's a cute little shop in Waynesville. You'll dig it. But yeah, I enjoyed that. They're a great couple of people, and it's fun to have Patty get exposure to different people.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. What did you love about this week?
I've been digging these braids, man.
Yeah, your 2 braids.
Yeah. my wife did this two braids thing for, well, we both kind of did it because we love advocating, especially on this show. We do it in real life too, though. I'm a big advocator for vape, but like we do other stuff. And this, what is it, this month?
Yeah, May is Missing, Murdered, and Indigenous People Awareness Month.
Yeah,
So that's a whole. Sorry to interrupt you, but just
you're
to
good.
spit that out real quick for
It's
people
what,
that don't know.
hashtag MMIV.
It's MMIW, or you can
MMIW.
use
Gotcha.
MMIP. You can use MMIR for like missing and murdered Indigenous relatives.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like the missing, murdered Indigenous women, girls, two spirit trans people. Like
Yeah.
they're one of the most. They are something like 7 times more likely to get missing and go missing or get murdered than any other group of women,
Yeah.
especially in Canada, which is
Right.
absolutely ridiculous. They're like so fucking kind up there, but they're like,
I know it.
oh, you murdered an Indigenous woman. It's fine. Like, I don't
Right.
know how they talk up there, but
So
yeah.
yeah, we decided to put my hair in the two braids to kind of bring light to that subject, and so I like telling people about it. It's a lot cooler on my head too. So
Yeah. Star Butterfly, can you shut up? Sorry, y'all. Sometimes you just got to yell at the dogs.
she,
You know what I
she's
mean?
she's barking at nothing. So
She's an anxious dog.
she is.
So, all right. What do you got for us this week?
Okay, this week, well, Mother's Day is coming up, so I decided to do a mother story.
I'm sorry. I'm
Um,
laughing because I already know what it's about and I can't.
yeah. So in Mother's Day, I'm doing the story of Nance Dude. Also, this is it's kind of a true crime story more than paranormal. There's some paranormal stuff in it, but it's more of a true crime. And I thought I would give our listeners kind of a taste of what we do on Deadly Lovers as well.
Yeah.
So
Also, like, shout out to Haywood County because this is a Haywood County story,
yeah, this is a local story.
local story from where we're from. And it's also a terrible, terrible local
It's
legend.
horrible.
It's absolutely horrible. But I remember that I heard about it when I worked at the place that you work at, which
Hmm.
has been like 10 years since I started working there.
Yeah,
So within the last 10 years, I had never heard of it before.
that's where I heard of it, and I was like, somebody asked me if I'd done the episode yet, and there I was like, no, I've never even heard of that.
And then when you came home and told me what you said something about you're doing a local thing, and I asked you, I was like, "Is it this?" You were like, "Yes," and I was like, "Oh God, oh, it's so terrible." All
It is
right, so I'm
terrible.
excited for this one. Let's get into it.
Okay, so first off, happy Mother's Day.
All right.
Let's see. Okay, so yeah, you can find shows like this on our Patreon. It's a Patreon exclusive. You can do it on our, what is it, first tier now?
It's the $5 tier, but I think I'm about to make that our only tier because I
Right.
don't really do anything on the $3 tier except for like early
Early
access
early access.
to this
Yeah.
show. So
So let's see. Today I'm gonna tell you uh one from our hometown in Waynesville, or as I like to call it, Wayne's Vegas.
Wayne's Vegas.
This is the story of Nance Dude. Trigger warning. This involves an unaliving of a child. And if you guys don't want to listen to that, skip back a couple of episodes. Not the last episode because last one was on suicide. But skip back to like our last collaboration or our collaboration episode. And that way you don't have to listen to unalivings too.
Yeah. That's a couple of unalivings. It's been a couple of rough weeks.
Yeah, it
So
has. So Nancy Ann Conrad was born in 1848 in Jonathan Creek community in Haywood County. We just call it J Creek.
mm,
Uh, it's like this got one long straight road that follows a creek. People like to like, I don't know, race and do wheelies on their motorcycles because of how long and straight the road is.
and up until recently, it was one of those places that like it was just a road
Yep.
and there was like a couple trailer parks, there were some houses, but like There was nothing.
Nothing out there.
And now it's getting gentrified.
Yeah.
So, yay.
And I also want to shout out Murder She Shed on YouTube
Okay.
because her episode kind of told the whole story real well, and
I
so I
love a she shed, so I'm gonna go give her a follow.
so I got most of this from her YouTube episode on Nance Dude.
Murder and she sheds.
Murder She Shed on YouTube. So a lot of people in this community didn't have a lot during the 1800s, and Nance's family was no exception. They lived in a shack on the side of what is called Utah Mountain up J Creek. I had a couple of friends that lived up that road, so I'm like remembering the
Mm-hmm.
area, you know, when I went through this. So it's way back in the woods, Utah mountains, like way up J Creek. Uh, when Nance Dude was 10, her and her brother were playing in the yard outside her family's shack. She made her brother play with like handmade dolls that her mama made
Mm-hmm.
while her mom did the chores. Um, so Nancy was too caught up in playing to hear the limbs behind her from fallen tree branches breaking.
Oh no.
Um, Nancy, oh, lost my place. Sorry, guys. All of a sudden, her brother Earl started screaming bloody murder.
Oh, poor Earl.
When Nancy turned to look and see what was wrong, she remembers seeing a dark figure paw, uh, as tall as her paw, heading straight for her brother. A scream came from her mama, who was standing on the porch of their small house. Bear!
Oh shit.
Her paw came a running to see what the commotion was, and the bear had snatched up her brother Earl and took him off into the woods.
Oh shit.
So Nancy's mama grabbed her up and started yelling at her, "What were you doing? You weren't even watching him." So without hesitation, her paw took off with his gun, and a few moments later, they heard gunshots. When her paw returned, he had little Earl in his arms. They thought he was dead for sure, but he was still alive. So they saddled up and took Earl to the doctor. Nancy's mama shot her a dirty look and went back inside the house, and Nancy spent the rest of the day crying on the porch.
Okay. Pause. Do not put the responsibility of your children
To watch your other
on
children.
your children. This is
Yep.
called parentification, and it is a legal form of abuse.
Yeah.
Just for anybody who is not aware.
Yeah.
The days of like you watching your siblings, and if you're not getting paid for it, that shit is over.
Yeah.
I accidentally burnt down our house when I was 4, y'all.
Yeah. So you
My
kind of know.
brother was supposed to be watching me and he fell asleep.
Right.
She does not blame. My mother never blamed either one of us. And I'm the
Yeah.
one that literally lit the lighter and started the fire.
Yeah.
She was like, "You were children. You guys went through a traumatic experience. We lost
Yeah.
everything."
Yeah.
Like Nancy's brother could have died.
Yeah.
She watched her brother get hauled off by a bear.
A bear. Like a big bear.
A fucking bear. And
Yep.
her mama's like, "What are you doing? Why are you not watching him? Bitch, what are you doing? Why
There's
are you
nothing-
not watching him?"
There's nothing she could have done anyways.
Exactly. What is she
Like
going to
that
do?
bear
A
had hauled
10-year-old?
both of them off.
Like, okay, we're talking probably like a little stick of a girl, like living out here in the woods, probably doesn't
Yep.
have access to like an abundance of nutrition.
Probably-
You want her to fight a damn bear?
She was probably less than like 25 pounds.
Like,
You
I
know?
get it. Like, we chose the bear, but like, you want her to fucking fight it?
Right.
She's a child, woman.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
This one's gonna bother you the whole time. Like,
Y'all get ready.
It's pretty rough.
Y'all get
I'm sorry,
ready.
guys.
Because I'm gonna yell. Like, I literally, like, just the fact that like I literally burnt down our house. We lost everything, including
Yep.
many pets died in that house.
Yeah.
And not once did my mother ever put like the burden of
The blame on you
responsibility
guys.
on me, even though it was literally my fault.
Right.
Like,
And you guys were kids, you
ugh,
know?
Nance, poor Nance.
So Nance never really got over what happened that day, and her mama didn't either. Um, it sounds like her mom, just blamed her for it,
Her
which is
mom can go
horrible.
fuck herself.
But so Earl survived, but he was simple minded for the rest of his life. Mentally, he never really got past the age of 5. When Nancy became a teenager, she took a liking to a boy that lived a little down the road on Utah Mountain. His name was Jace, and he was the son of a family that lived in a big, big house and had lots of nice things. They owned lots of land nearby, and Nancy knew that it would be hard to get together with Jace since she and her family were very poor.
That's the class system at work for you.
Yeah. Uh, Jace did like her, even though he said that she smelled, and but he liked that she was a hard worker and she was tough and she was attractive. She developed a liking for snuff during this time and really wasn't the typical girl that Jace was used to.
It's so funny because it seems like a lot of women back in the day, especially in this area, got into snuff.
Snuff, yeah.
Like the number of stories that I've heard of people like, yeah, my grandma was in the nursing home and we had to take her some snuff. I'm like, okay, Granny.
Well, I mean, up until what, about 1930s or 40s, the cash crop in North Carolina was tobacco.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're
So
just
it
like
was,
drying it in the barn, you can just like grab you a
yep,
couple of leaves and stick it in your
grind it
lip.
up.
Yep.
Yep. So Nancy knew Jace's family would never allow them to date, no matter how much Jace or her wanted to. Uh, so he never really asked her out. Nancy went on to marry a man named Howard. Howard was a slow man, but Nancy figured that he would be good to her. Her dad had died, and her mama moved across the mountain to live with her sister. So Nancy had to marry in order to survive during this time. She became pregnant pretty quick after marrying Howard, and Howard loved Nancy more than anything. But Nancy never really had the spark with Howard like she did with Jace. Now, Howard being a slow man, sometimes sometimes he would need help with doing things around the house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking he might have been like overweight or something, and so like he would call a friend to come help him out. So Howard would ask a man by the name of Dude to come over to help out. Now, Howard's friend took a liking to Nancy and became affectionate with her.
Mm-hmm.
One day, when Dude came over to slaughter and cut up a hog for Howard and Nancy, he made a move on her. They tried to sneak off in the woods together, but Howard would wind up catching him in the act. But Howard's heart was broken. He told Nancy to pack up her things and get out.
I don't blame him.
I don't either.
Bitch. Trifling asshole.
So Nancy did, and she went with Dude. Now, Dude was an alcoholic. Sometimes Dude would get drunk and have mean spells. So Nancy would often take walks in the woods when Dude was drinking. One day, while exploring the woods, Nancy found a small cave in the side of the mountain there. She would often visit the cave and dream about her long lost love, Jace. Dude would often gamble and drink away all of the little money that they had. It was hard during this time to scavenge enough food to feed their children. Nancy had another child during this time. Her name was Lizzie. Dude was often abusive to her and her children and would beat them when he was drunk. One night, he got so mad that he lit their shack on fire
Jesus.
and burned down everything that they had.
Jesus.
They lost everything. An old dude just ran off and left them there.
What an asshole.
Yep, what a douche. They had to beg another family to live with them. It just so happens that it was another poor family that rented a house from Jace.
Hmm.
This couple had a son whose name was Will. While they were living there, Lizzie became pregnant with Will's baby.
Oh shit.
So the daughter got pregnant with.
Just people just popping out fucking babies
Yeah,
everywhere. Like, I mean, it is the 1800s of it all, I guess.
it's true. Will didn't think that Lizzie was pregnant with his baby, though. He accused her of sleeping with another man named Birch.
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 Sorry.
uh, Lizzie did. She did like the man named Birch, but she had never slept with him. The baby's name was Roberta Putnam, or Putman. Yeah,
Putman. I know some
Putman.
Putmans.
I know some Putnams,
I know both.
but when Nancy moved in with her neighbors, the Putmans, she would work from sun up to sundown in order to make her keep. Lizzie's new husband refused to work, and her new in-laws were getting way too old to do any work. And a lot of the times when rent was due at the end of the month, they didn't have enough money to pay for it. Will would hunt and bring in food every once in a while. They all seemed to get short on supplies, though, whenever they needed it. Well, Lizzie wound up getting pregnant again, and Jace was getting upset because so many people were living on his land. They were killing animals and
Eh.
not paying any rent.
Oh.
So Jace rode his horse on down to the Putman's house and let them know that Nancy and Lizzie had to leave, that there was just too many mouths to feed. Will told Nancy that her and the 2-year old at this time, Roberta, would have to leave. Will had hated the little girl since he claims that she wasn't his. So Nancy packed up what little they had and took little Roberta with her. So Nancy set her off across the mountain to see if her mama was still alive, living with her sister. It had been 30 years since they had moved.
Dang.
So Nancy was exhausted by the time her and Roberta made it to a little store on the other side of Utah Mountain. She asked the lady at the store where her mama lived, and the lady told her that her mama had died and that her brother was the only one left in the shack where her mama had lived. She told Nancy that she wouldn't want to live with her brother since he was very poor and he really didn't have anything. She said that he didn't work and he stayed out by the creek and mined for gold all day long. She told Nancy the direction it was in, and Nancy headed on down to her brother's shack. When Nancy got there, she saw her brother standing by the creek. She said she got sad all over for letting him get attacked by the bear.
Mm.
She felt that if it wasn't for her, that her brother might have had a normal life. He seen her, but he didn't seem to know who Nancy was. He asked who she was, and when Nancy told him, he said, "Nancy isn't that old."
Jesus. Listen, sir, I had a rough fucking life, okay?
Right.
Jesus.
So Nancy told him that she was now, and that he just went back, and then he just went back to mining in the creek.
Which he did, like, he did have, like, probably a traumatic brain
Yeah.
injury, and he was, like, stuck at 5 years old,
Yeah.
so In his mind, Nancy was probably still like 10.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, yeah. But still.
I know, right? Nancy and Roberta went into the shack that Earl was staying in. It seemed to be falling apart. Roberta was thirsty, so she fetched her some water from the well. And then Nancy noticed that the inside of the shack was so dirty uh, that she didn't want to put Roberta down because she was carrying her, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Nancy knew she had to get the place cleaned up, so that's what she did. Uh, she would cook a big supper for Earl and Roberta every night, and when Earl would come home, or she would cook supper every night when Earl would come home from mining. And then every day, Nancy would chop wood to sell at the front of the store down the road for some food money. Everything was fine for a while until one day, about 3 months later, Earl came home one day and told Nancy that it was time for her and Roberta to leave.
Uh-oh.
He said he wanted his place back, even though she did cook a good supper. So Nancy did the only thing she knew to do and head back down the mountain towards Will's house. Will was not happy when they got there. He said that he didn't want to see that ugly little girl, Roberta, ever again.
Will, you're a douchebag.
Yep. I
You
blame
remember
him.
how Will said, "Don't be a dick"?
Yeah.
Guess what, Will? You're being a dick.
It's true. um so Will told him to he told Nancy and Roberta to head over to the county home, which is, I guess it's kind of like a retirement home
Hmm.
of way back then.
Yeah.
Uh, he said they take old folks in and maybe they would take an orphan too. Roberta cried and cried this time to stay with her mama. Uh, Lizzie told her that she would come and get her as soon as they got some money and some food. But winter was setting in, and Nancy knew that it would be a cold walk this time. So she put 4 different outfits on little Roberta. This time, Roberta could walk better, so they set out to make the long walk. After a few miles, they were freezing. Well, they were close to a house that was owned by a woman by the name of Cora. So, and she went to church with Nancy. So Cora invited them in to warm up. So she told them that she didn't think the county home would take in a child because she said it was just for old people.
Right.
Nancy asked Cora if she would take Roberta, and Cora told her no, she had too many children already.
Mm-hmm.
Roberta at this time was playing with 2 wooden sticks that she had found on the floor, and Cora told her that her sons had made them and that they called them Wimmy Diddles. Cora told her that she could keep the Wimmy Diddles, which made Roberta smile. After warming up for a while, Nancy and Roberta headed out again. This time, Nancy had to carry Roberta because she was tired. Lucky for them, a man in a buggy was passing through and asked them if they wanted a ride. He said he could take them as far as his house. Nancy thought it was a good time for her to dip some snuff until the man that was giving them a ride told him that he was a reverend. After they got to his house, Nancy seen kids playing in the man's front yard. So again, Nancy asked the man if he would keep Roberta. And again, the man told her nope. His house was full and he would not be able to keep Roberta.
Take a breath for a minute.
Right.
This is making me so sad.
I know, it's a very sad story.
It is. And like, it was so hard back then,
Yep.
especially in this area.
You don't have no food.
You
You
don't
don't
have no
have
food,
like
and like
a shack.
it wasn't in the 1900s. Like there wasn't a whole lot here.
There was nothing here.
Like there was not a whole lot at all here.
Mm-mm.
It's just, and I know where this ends up,
Yeah.
and it's making me sad at how hard Nance is trying to find somewhere to take Roberta.
Yeah.
Like it's absolutely breaking my heart because like I know where it ends up, and I'm like, but she tried so hard. Like, what happens to get to the point that it does?
Yeah.
Ugh.
So he told her that he couldn't keep Roberta, and he also told Nancy again that they didn't take children at the county home. So Nancy strapped Roberta on her back and started that long trip up the mountain. Then Nancy remembered that she was close to the cave that she often visited while Dude was on a binge, and she was feeling troubled. So she headed off the trail and walked to the little cave. She looked inside the cave and scooped up some leaves to put on the floor of it. Then Nancy scooped up Roberta and put her in the cave. Roberta was crying and afraid, but Nancy told her that she would have to leave her there while she was walking to the county home to see if they would take her. She told Roberta that she would come back and get her. Roberta squatted down in the back of the cave. Nancy told her that she would have to put some rocks on the opening of the cave so that the bears don't get her. Nancy took several big rocks and placed them over the cave entrance. She then rested for a minute and took a dip of snuff. She could hear Roberta saying, "Mama, Mama, don't leave."
Bruh.
I know.
Ugh.
Give me a second, guys.
Stop. Oh my god.
Okay, so
Ooh.
she told her to hush or the old bear would get her. As Nancy walked away, she remembers saying to herself, "There's a lot that I won't have to go through." She then started walking back to Lizzie and Will's place as she was hearing soft crying. When she got back, Lizzie told Nancy, "I thought you were going to the county home." Nancy told her that she took Roberta to the county home and that a nice fellow gave them a ride. Nancy told her that she came back because she knew that Will mainly didn't want Roberta to stay there. 3 weeks passed when all the people in the holler were gathering by the river for a baptism. Lizzie had knitted a sweater and a note to give to a friend. Hold on.
Oh. Oh. That's a rough one.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So she knitted her a sweater and a note to give a friend so she could ride it out to the county home for Roberta. She wanted her to understand why she had to give her away. When her old friend, Mr. Birch, took the sweater and the note to the county home, he discovered that there was no little girl at the county home, that they had never taken in a girl 3 weeks ago. They only take old people. So he rode back to the Putnams and told Lizzie. Now, Lizzie started hollering at Nancy, "Mama, what did you do with my little girl?"
Oh god.
And Nancy told Lizzie that she had given her to the man in the buggy. So Mr. Birch rode off to investigate. He rode to Cora's house and asked about Nancy and Roberta. Cora told him that Nancy had been there and that she had tried to give Roberta to her, but she said no. Cora had an uneasy feeling like something felt off when Nancy had left that day. So then Mr. Birch ran into the Reverend on the road and asked him about Nancy and Roberta. The Reverend also told Mr. Birch he had told Nancy no when she asked if he wanted Roberta. So then Mr. Birch rode off to the sheriff's office, where he told them about Nancy and Roberta. And the sheriff, after hearing their story, heads over to Will's place to question Nancy. The sheriff didn't like how Nancy's story kept changing.
Mm-hmm.
She kept changing her story. Nancy told the sheriff that it was nobody's business what had happened to the little girl because she was theirs.
Where's she at, bitch?
Right.
It is our business when she is
Not there.
missing.
Yeah, she's a missing person. So the sheriff arrested Lizzie, Nancy, and or the sheriff arrested Will, Lizzie, and Nancy and took them all to the county jail. Lizzie was pregnant at the time, and then the very next day she went into labor.
I bet she did.
Right.
Like, your fucking kid goes missing. Your mom's like, oh no, I gave her to some man. For one, like,
Right.
that's not any better than what you
No.
did do, ma'am. That's not. Um, and then she gets arrested.
Yeah.
Like, jeez.
So the next day she goes into labor, and also people were gathering at the jail because by that time everyone in the county had heard about Nancy's story, and she had left, like how she had left Roberta to die somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so Will, Lizzie, and the baby were released from jail. But then the town folk started throwing rocks into Nancy's jail cell and yelling at her through the window, calling her a witch. Meanwhile, a search party was scouring the woods looking for little Roberta. They had been looking for 10 days, and a lot of people had already given up. On April 17th, 1913, young Frank and his hunting puppy had found a rocky ledge to explore when Frank's dog started to dig
Oh God.
and started acting all crazy. So Frank ran up and seen a little hole. When Frank moved a rock to see what the dog was going on about, the smell hit him.
I bet.
Frank started yelling that he had found her and that someone needed to go get the sheriff. Frank felt like he was going to faint. Uh, Under those rocks, he saw Roberta's body laying face down in a pile of leaves.
Mm.
Her hair was still blonde, and her body had turned black. She didn't have any fingertips left because she was scratching, trying to get
Stop
out.
it.
And in the leaves were the little wimmy diddle that she had picked up from Cora's house. The sheriff noticed how heavy the rocks were that Nancy put on the opening of the cave. He wondered how Nancy could have carried them since Nancy only weighed 90 pounds, soaking wet. The coroner said that Roberta died of starvation and exposure. The people wanted Nancy to hang for what she had done.
Hell yeah.
Lizzie came and visited Nancy before her trial and gave her a dress to wear and some snuff. She felt sorry for Nancy. She knew she did it all for her. They didn't have any food, and Will was going to put her out on the street. That's why she did it.
I mean, I get it.
Right.
I do. It was a hard time for everybody, especially in this area.
Still, though, it doesn't mean you gotta like kill her or leave her to die.
I like, even worse, if you're gonna do it, don't fucking do it like that.
Yeah.
Like, snap her neck or something. Do something to make it as quick and painless as possible. Because I understand, I would never do it. Don't.
Right.
Like, I would never do it. But I can understand getting to that point where, like, the kid's going to starve to death or they're going to freeze to death or something. And
Or it'd be all of them.
you don't want to witness that and you don't want them to have to go through that. But to make her starve to death in a darkened cave while digging at the rocks, begging for her mama to save her, like,
It's rough.
I don't know how she could walk away.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. You have to be a cold bitch to not only walk away from a child, but your grandchild?
Yeah.
Your grandchild? Y'all, this is the story he picked for Mother's Day.
Yep.
Happy Mother's
Happy Mother's
Day.
Day. So it was hard for the county to pick a jury for this trial because so many people knew about the granny killer.
Everybody wants her dead.
Yep, everybody did.
Kill a bitch.
It's a small town, so like word traveled fast.
Like, I'm
But
like I said, I'm all the way up until her with her until she walked. The minute you walked away,
yeah.
hang her.
So a crowd jumped her while headed to her trial and started beating Nance. Several men dragged her over to a huge oak tree. They threw a rope over a tall branch, and the crowd started chanting, "Hang the witch." Her face and hair were all bloody. Um, and then she looked up and seen a man riding on a horse, a man she knew. It was Jace. He rode up on his horse, drew his 30-30 pistol, and pointed it in the face of the man holding the rope and said, "Turn her loose."
Nah, motherfucker. Nah. 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 You gonna fucking kick him out into the street? This happened
Because of him.
because of him.
Yep. Maybe
He
he felt
kicked
guilty.
them out. You don't get to fucking come in riding in on your white horse like some kind of fucking savior, sir.
Right.
The fuck?
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up.
The audacity.
So Jace helped her up, took her up on his horse, and led her back to jail.
Took her back to jail.
Yep. Took her back to jail.
He's like, you don't have to die, but you got to stay in jail.
You do. They took her to Swain County for her trial and was confined in the state prison for 30 years of hard labor. She was released at the age of 80. When she got out, she showed up at Lizzie's door, but they wouldn't let Nancy live with them. But someone close allowed Nancy to rent an old building that was falling apart, so she still was living in a shack.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excuse me. She lived there till she was 104 years old.
Jesus Christ.
104. That's
Just
nuts.
pure evil kept that bitch alive.
Pretty much.
Like, there's no other explanation for it.
When she died, she was found in the back of her old building, face down, just like Roberta. She had died of a heart attack while chopping wood to sell at the store to survive.
Chopping wood at 104.
She was chopping wood at
Listen,
104.
These old Appalachian folks, man.
That old mountain lady was a tough old broad.
Tough old bird.
Like, I couldn't even imagine.
Out there chopping wood at 104.
Yep.
I can't even chop wood and I'm 37.
So they say you can see the cave, or hold on, let me back up. Us locals have ghost stories we tell about Utah Mountain. They say you can hear cries and screams when walking near the cave where Roberta was found. They say you can see the cave from Queen's Farm in Delwood, which is a farm that my family owns.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I went riding at Queen's Farm. I've seen the cave.
Yeah.
Fuck. God.
And what do you guys think about this story? Is it I don't know, did she like have to do it, or I don't know.
I'm just I'm not okay.
I don't think she had to do it.
I don't think
I
she had
don't
to do
agree.
it.
Like,
I mean,
if she was so tough, she could have kept her and like kept her alive. And
yeah. And I mean, honestly, if she really truly felt like she had no other choice, so many other ways she could have done that.
yeah,
So many that would have been so much more humane
for sure.
that I can't. She was 3.
If she was so tough, she could have survived without having to do anything like that. So
She was 3.
she was 2.
2.
Yeah, 2.
2.
2.5, 3, something like that. I don't know. Let us know what you guys think. You know.
Well, that was fucking tragic.
And if you wanna hear more stories of us like almost crying and like struggling to get through it, then
Cussing.
come and like our true crime on the Patreon.
Yeah,
Check us
come
out
check
on
that out.
there.
You guys can get a week free
Yeah,
to
you can.
try it out. Try it at the $5 tier for a week. There's I think 13 episodes thus far. Um, we're getting ready to record number 14. Try it out. If you like it, subscribe. We
Yeah.
could we would appreciate
It
it.
helps us out a lot. So
If you can't afford it, tell your friends about it that can't afford it, you know. I'm just saying. All right, well that was terrible.
it's horrible.
Never want you to do a story again.
Right?
I'm like, I've done some bad ones, but you are a storyteller, sir, and that was a terrible fucking
Yeah,
story.
it was a horrible story.
Please don't ever tell me a story like that again.
I think I
Oh my
got so
god.
emotional because I know all the areas that they're talking about. Like,
I just got emotional because like I can't I just like I understand the struggle.
and it's a little girl. Like,
I understand the struggle
I
of
have a little
like
girl, so
what they were going through during that time
yeah,
because like yeah, it was fucking hard. Like everybody was starving and then the Great Depression hit and everybody was really starving. Like back then,
yeah,
especially in this county, you were either dirt poor
yeah, dirt
or
poor.
you were rich.
I mean, I came
There
from
was
one of
no
those
in
poor
between.
families, so
Yeah, like you were either dirt poor or you were rich. There was no in between.
yeah,
Um so I get it and I understand the circumstances and I kind of get why they were like bouncing around and everybody was like, I can't, I got too many kids. I'm sorry, but like you could have done
you just got to keep trying, you know.
anything else.
Yeah,
Anything else. Yeah, just keep trying. She just
yeah,
didn't want to. I don't know. But just the fact that she could walk away,
yeah.
no.
It's horrible.
Fuck you, Nance Dude.
Yeah,
Exactly how I feel about that.
for sure.
You ever notice that that is no longer a surname in this county?
Yeah,
They were like, well, we're going to let that one die the fuck out.
yeah, for
I don't
sure.
blame them. Well, that was terrible. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you would like, head on over to Instagram and give us a follow. Also, Facebook and TikTok. If you'd like to watch the videos, look on YouTube as well. You can send us an email at theparanormallovers@yahoo.com if you would like a topic request or to send in a personal story. It can be paranormal or true crime or funny or whatever.
Go watch was it Murder She Shed?
Murder She
Yeah,
Shed.
go watch Murder She Shed because she does a first person with it.
Oh,
Like
God.
she acts like she's the Nancy dude.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I'll have to check
Yeah.
that out.
Plus she's southern. You'll like her accent.
Yeah.
She has more of an accent than I do.
Hey, if you're from Minnesota, go listen to her. She got this southern accent going on.
Yeah.
If you would like, yeah, listen to more stuff like this, head on over to patreon.com/the paranormal lovers. $5 tier, you get the Deadly Lovers, early access to the paranormal lover videos, and I don't know what else. I think that's about it right now.
Like, follow, comment, and subscribe.
All that good jazz. I feel like I'm forgetting something. The Facebook, Patreon, Threadless. Come on over and get some merch at theparanormallovers.threadless.com, and we will have another sale coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that, you guys.
I wonder if we get copyrighted for making a Nance Dude shirt. Like, fuck Nance Dude.
I don't give a shit. Fight me. Yeah, so that was that.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
I love you guys.
Love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.